Do you know anyone that has been adopted? If not, now you do. I chose the topic of adoption because it is very dear and close to my heart. I don't know where I'd be right now if my mom had not adopted me. I would not be standing in front of you here today, that is for sure. Not everyone is blessed with having a mom like I do, and this is why people need to be aware of the concept of adopting. Today I'll be informing you on why people adopt, the process of adoption, and why adoption is important. I hope that I'll be able to inform you on how adoption is able to change someone's life, like it did mine. Before contacting the adoptions agency, let's talk about why people adopt. There are several reasons why people adopt. The first one being they want to give the child a family. Everyone deserves to have a family and have someone to rely on. One of life's greatest gifts is family. Another reason why people would adopt is to give a child a happier and better life. Living in an orphanage or going through foster care is not good for a child's mental health. They feel like they're not welcomed anywhere or that no one cares enough to adopt them. Or that they had a rough background and history. Their birth parents might not have cared for them, so they gave him or her up. Being adopted would help them, would give them the sense of courage that there are people in this world that care about them and love them. And lastly, some people might adopt because they can't have kids of their own. Imagine being told one day that you can't have what is one of life's greatest gifts. But I'm here to tell you that you still can. Adoption is able to give the parent and the child what they've always wanted, and that is a family. According to PBS, in 2001, there were 1.5 million adopted children in the United States. And since then, that number has been rapidly increasing. Before someone can adopt a child, they have to go through several steps to complete this process. According to Adoption Network Law Center, there are 10 steps in completing this process. The first step is choosing which adoption type you want to be a part of. For example, there's domestic adoption or international adoption, or there's a decision on whether or not you want to adopt a younger child versus an older child. Step 2 is considering the cost of adoption. Adoption is extremely expensive. It can range from anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000. Step 3 is choosing an adoption professional to help you with whatever you need throughout this process. Choosing the right person throughout this process is very important. Step 4 is working with your adoption professional to complete the process. Step 5 is completing your home study. What is a home study? It is an assessment that is given to the parent or an individual to see if they're suitable to adopt a child. Step 6 is finding a mother or an adoption facility that has a child for you. When there is a child for you, you have to prepare for the child. Whether that is making a room for him or her or going out and buying clothes. Then you have to wait, which is probably one of the hardest steps of this process. When there is finally a child ready for you, you can go pick him or her up and bring him or her home. And the last step of this process is finalizing the adoption, which will include a hearing that completes the process. Some people might ask, why is adoption important? I'm here to answer that question. Adoption is extremely important to several different people. An article from adoption.com emphasizes that 3 people are affected during this process. The first person that is affected is a child being adopted. The child being adopted is finally cared for and welcomed and finally can be a part of someone's family. They are able to receive the care and attention they would not normally receive in foster care or orphanage. And second, it is important to the people adopting the child. There are several situations when someone adopts a child, whether they're single but want to have kids, or they're a married couple but can't have kids of their own, or a married couple that already has kids of their own that feels called to adopt. Adopting a child is able to change someone's life forever. And lastly, it affects the birth parents. Birth parents are important in this process because putting their child up for adoption was probably one of the hardest decisions they've ever had to make. But knowing that their child will be well taken care of and is loved is very important to them. Adoption is important because a family, a couple, or an individual is able to have a new beginning. But it also gives a child a loving family and a happier life. As we reach the end of this speech today, let's recap on what we have learned about adoption and how it changes someone's life. First, we talked about why people adopt. The reasons including they want to give the child a family and a happier and better life, or they can't have kids of their own. Second, we talked about the adoption process and how it includes 10 steps. And last but not least, we talked about why adoption is important to the people that to the child that is being adopted, the adopting parents, and the birth parents. I hope I was able to show you how adoption is able to change someone's life, including mine. And maybe someday it'll change your life too.